It's time for the good news portion of the show on this August 3rd, 2017. Can you believe we're in August already? Where does the time go? It absolutely just flies right by. So, really cool story, and it's very fitting for summertime. Have you heard that the honeybee colonies are on the rise? They're up 27% in 2017. Just over a decade ago, beekeepers began reporting disturbing declines in honeybee populations. Bees, they said, were leaving the hive and not returning. The phenomenon, now known as colony collapse disorder, is alarming, not only because of the central role bees play in plant life around the world, and thus most other life, but also because no one knew why the decline was happening or how to stop it. Several possible causes have been identified, but that hasn't prevented the disappearances. But new data gives some reason for optimism. According to a report by the U.S. Department of Agriculture released Tuesday, honeybee populations are on the rise. As of April, an estimated 2.89 million bee colonies existed across the U.S., an increase in 3% compared to April 2016. Colony collapse disorder makes sustaining a hive difficult. When worker bees abruptly leave, the queen bee is left with just a few nurse bees to raise the remaining immature larvae. Although the colony is left with ample food following the disappearance of the workers, the hive can't operate without their contribution, eventually leading to its death. Colony collapse disorder refers to the combination of events that lead to that destruction. Several years ago, beekeepers began noticing diminishing numbers of colonies surviving the winter. Typically, hives that survived the winter months averaged at 28.7%. However, the number dropped 23.1% for the 2014-2015 winter, remaining relatively low since. But newly released figures from the USDA indicate a break in that trend. Only about 84 colonies were lost in the first quarter of 2017. That figure is 27% less than the number of colonies reported lost for the first quarter of 2016. But the news isn't completely rosy. Varroa mites, a parasite that lives inside beehives, are one of the many causes that researchers believe could be behind the losses. And the new report lists these mites as the top stressor responsible for lost colonies. The parasites, which survive by sucking insect blood, were reported in 42% of commercial beehives. However, the department noted that instances of the Varroa mites, which first started plaguing beehives in 1987, were still down some 11% compared to the 53% of hives affected by the parasites the year before. So they've identified it, because we need to be solution people, right? Not just problem people. So they've identified it, and now they can take the steps they need to get rid of the mites to help everything evolve to make our world a better place, which is ultimately the goal. Very awesome story, and there's always hope. Next story, very cool. This pizza delivery driver went above and beyond the call of duty after his car broke down earlier this month. And his grateful customer is making sure that he is properly repaid for his kindness. Ashley Schaefer was at her home in Flint, Michigan when she decided to order some Domino's pizzas for her husband's dinner. Sometime around midnight, however, she was confused to see that the pizza had left the store at 11:24 p.m. and it still had not arrived. An hour later, I still had no pizza and was about to call when there was a knock, said Schaefer. It was a manager informing me that the delivery driver's car had broken down. A deaf young man named Benjamin, and he was worried. 23-year-old Ben Houston had indeed been on his way with the order when his car broke down. Because his cell phone had recently stopped working as well, he had no way of contacting Schaefer or the Domino's store about his predicament. Houston then started knocking on nearby doors in order to see if he could use someone's phone. Eventually, a man answered the door and let Houston call his manager. "He deserves a round of applause," says Houston. Not sure what your name is, but unsung hero from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for having patience with me and not closing the door on me, he said. Houston then waited for one of his team members to pick him up from his broken down car. After waiting a long time, however, he decided to go ahead and deliver the pizza to the customer's house. Then, on the way to Schaefer's house, he saw one of his co-workers drive past. He rushed back to his car only to find that the co-worker still wasn't there. For the second time that night, he started hiking back over to the woman's house. Finally, he was able to give her the pizza. Half an hour later, there was another knock. It was Ben with my pizza, who was apologizing profusely and explaining what happened, wrote Schaefer. I said, I'd heard. I completely understand, and it was not a problem at all. After taking the pizza inside, she looked out the window and was surprised to see Houston hiking back down the road. He had walked me my pizza. If I wasn't alone with two young kids asleep, I would have went after him. I immediately called the store to let them know that they could go find this amazing young man. It might seem silly, but in a world that right now seems tumultuous and full of hate, and in a city where itself and its people are constantly put down, there was this bright light. That was Ben. He went far above and beyond, caring more about getting me a stupid pizza than staying in his car and waiting for help. And being safe, I might add. Schaefer has since started a GoFundMe page, which has already raised $2,000 for either keeping him on the road or new shoes for when he goes above and beyond. That's absolutely awesome. It's so wonderful to see somebody that has that spirit, isn't it? And speaking of somebody with an awesome spirit, George and Amal Clooney are making sure that despite the overwhelming obstacles faced by Syrian refugee children overseas, they will have the opportunity to seek an education. That's because the Clooney Foundation for Justice has just announced that they will be donating $2.25 million to build 7 public schools for 3,000 Syrian refugee children in Lebanon. The donation, which was made as a part of an educational campaign in partnership with Google and UNICEF, will hopefully offer relief during one of the largest humanitarian crises since World War II. They have been victims of geography and circumstance, but that doesn't mean there isn't hope, said the couple in a statement to the AP. Our goal with this initiative is to help provide Syrian refugee children with an education and put them on a path to the future to be future leaders their generation desperately needs. Thousands of young Syrian refugees are at risk, the risk of never being a productive part of society. Formal education can help change that. That's our goal with this initiative. We don't want to lose an entire generation because they had the bad luck of being born in the wrong place at the wrong time, said the Clooneys. What an absolutely awesome story. Very amazing. And my last story today is one that is just another representation of good people coming together. This little boy believes that though his parents are gone, they are not far away. In fact, he believes that they're just over the rainbow. Robbie Euchre, a 9-year-old autistic boy from New York, absolutely loves rainbows. His mother, Shelley, who is suffering from gastroparesis and cystic fibrosis, always used to tell him that if anything happened to her, she would be crossing a rainbow bridge to heaven. So when Shelley passed away in May, just 2 weeks after her husband Robert died of an overdose, a family member was shocked to see a double rainbow stretching over Robbie's school on the very same day. She snapped a photo with the intention of showing it to Robbie later that day. He was so excited to see the stunning picture, he started going outside every time it rained so he could look for more rainbows. After Shelley's sister Crystal was given custody of the youngster, she took to social media with a plea for strangers to share their own pictures of rainbows for the days when Robbie couldn't find any. Under the hashtag Rainbows for Robbie, over 7,000 people from all over the world have sent in the most dazzling photos of double and single rainbows. Strangers from Romania, Australia, Budapest, Belgium, California, Spain, and the Netherlands have all submitted photos. The new family has been so excited to receive all the photos, they plan on putting together a scrapbook in order to document all of the different rainbows. Isn't that absolutely awesome? So, like the other articles, these will all be posted on my Facebook page, Positive Power, for you to check out. This one in particular has a little video at the end where they show just a little bit about the family and the rainbows and the pictures that have been submitted and whatnot. And you can also find a link to where you can submit your own picture if you'd like to, which is very cool. So all these articles are from goodnewsnetwork.org if you want to check them out. And they're a great site. They post articles, good news, every single day. Doesn't matter if it's a holiday, doesn't matter if it's a weekend. They're always posting good news. So before we go, I'd like to add a food feature to the good news today. And this is 11 health benefits of cherries. I don't know if you've been to your farmer's market lately, but when I go to my farmer's market, there is a ton of cherries there. So we've been eating them like crazy, absolutely loving them. And I hope you are too, because they do a lot of good things for you. Number 1, they protect against diabetes. Number 2, they promote better sleep. Number 3, they decrease belly fat. Number 4, help ward off Alzheimer's. Number 5, reduce risk of stroke. Number 6, slows the aging of skin. Number 7, lowers risk of gout attacks. Number 8, reduces muscle pain. Number 9, helps regulate blood pressure. Number 10, helps with osteoarthritis relief. And number 11, helps to prevent colon cancer. You know, all the things that are going on in the world and all the things that go on in life and with our body and everything, there are natural cures all around us. In nature, there's everything we need to be better, everything we need to be healthier all the time. So you just need to look up some stuff, do some research, do the legwork, figure it out. Go to your local farmer's market, go to your local butcher, get what you need to make yourself feel good. And remember, the least amount of ingredients, the better. So there you go. There's your good news for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And it's going to be an absolute beautiful weekend. So I hope you enjoy that too.